the thankless running, and he's not picking his moments when to run. It does suggest he really is feeling as good as he looks. And I agree with you totally on his evolution as a player. He has become more rounded each season. He was pretty much brilliant from the off. I mean, this is the fifth season at Liverpool where he scored 30 goals. But there are more aspects to his game. His finishing is more impressive than ever. The creativity absolutely has been a development. And what's really interesting about this season, I think, you know, when a player stays on too long sometimes and there's a discussion about, he's tainting his legacy. This has been a season which has really elevated Salah's legacy. And there are now conversations, obviously, about the Ballon d'Or. And then even in Premier League terms, there's a general, and I'd be in the camp, I think, there's a general majority that have Henry as the best we've seen in the Premier League era with respect to Shearer's scoring record.
Yeah.
And then it's like, who's next in the pecking order? And I guess on foot of this season, on the back of all his other years, like Salah's kind of elbowing his way up into that, like, well, there's a fair chance I could be second kind of conversation.
Well, even actually, just as you're talking about it there, I was kind of thinking about if you compare him to Henry in that sense. And
Yeah.
like, there's almost this immediate assumption that Henry, because of achievement and also longevity, so like say Ronaldo was only in the league 6 years, but it feels like only three of those years are really kind of worthy of kind of that, maybe even only, well, three, say, oh, 06, oh, 07. But 06, oh, 07, he
No,
didn't quite go to
it's
the
two
07
years.
right level.
It's 2 years. It's
Yeah,
two
two
years.
years
Yeah.
at that kind of level, whereas Henri was at it for about 4 or 5. So Henri arrived, it was either 99 to 2000. We didn't start to see the best of Henri till 01. So there was at least half a decade there. Whereas Salah's kind of been at this level now from 2017 to 2020. That's 8 years. That is a long time to be. Now, I suppose what complicates Salah's legacy is actually Man City, in that, like, because there's always that sense of someone is scoring so many goals to finish second in a lot of seasons just doesn't feel like it has the same impact, because when people talk about these sort of legacies, they want these goals to mean something more. That isn't his fault in this year. In fact, he's really kind of kept, he sustained title races. Also, on the other side, if he wins the league this year, but he's actually matched Henri for titles as well. Um, and even if
I
he,
almost based the Henri thing in the eye test. He was just
yeah,
that awesome. He was just that superior. He was like legitimately unmarkable. It was just a level I haven't seen in the league before.
yeah. And there is still another element there though as well, which is at that point. So I mean, look, one of the reasons Henri even arrived to England was because he'd struggled in Serie A, and at that point, Serie A was still the absolute top of the game, as it would be, you'd say, until at least maybe the mid 2000s before Calciopoli. So England throughout Henri's time, and I'm generally not trying to belittle Henri here because we are talking. The point here is whether he's the greatest,
Yeah.
not whether not to actually do him down. So it's
And
you know
sorry,
what I'm saying?
are you pitching this as this is an Henri or Salah conversation? Is that where
Yeah, sorry.
Salah
Suddenly it's
has
become that.
so like Salah has elbowed his way that far up?
But there's an important context there. So when Henri was playing, because as you say, we're talking about someone who was so far above the rest of the league, but that was mostly in a Premier League that was at that point it started off in the fifth or sixth best league in Europe. By the time he left, it was arguably the first or second. But in that time, like football's economy wasn't what it is now. It was still kind of there wasn't much financial gaps. Even then, I think the Premier League was still a lot earthier, a bit more English. Whereas what it is now and what it has been for basically all of Salah's time is this global Super League that, like, just by definition, just attracts the absolute 90% of the best paid players or the best players in the game because it pays the best money. So Salah is kind of operating in an era that's more exacting almost. So he doesn't. So even if he's not, say, as high a level as Henri, and like theoretically, it's in a context where a lot of the players are closer. If you get me.
It's a very fair point.